Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to unmute people one at a time so they can share a few things with their Velim and wish them condolences. I'll just start with whoever's on first on my screen. I think it's in order of people when people join. So we'll start with Rabbi Yehuda Pink from Solihull, who has just left the screen. So we'll move on to Mr. Bonham Weinbaum is next. And if you can please unmute him, can the host please unmute him?
Oh, hello. You know, just lovely memories we have of your mummy from when she used to come to New York, growing up, giving up my bedroom. All I can say is, you know, she was part of our family, one big family. And for many, many years we were, yeah, I see Shalom's there. Hello. Yeah. We should all have simchas and only happy from now on, simchas and all.
Hi Shalom, hi Federico. I just wanted to say that since Chani met Yossi, we've had nothing but beautiful memories. Came up first Erev Pesach for the Vort, and your mum pulled it out the bag. It was unbelievable. And then we came up to Sheva Brachas in the bus, and again, it was unbelievable. And from then on, whenever we met her, it was always a smile and fish balls and good things, and just lots and lots of happy and good memories. And Shalom, you should be well and be surrounded by your family for many, many more years to come, and give them, and they should continue to give you all the nachas that they give you and that they give us too. Lots and lots of love.
Ari Simchas in the family now, and we should all be together very soon.
Thank you. Now, can you please unmute Rabbi Yehuda Pink? He's next on my screen.
It's really, I guess, we're here because of the Simon's connections to the Turks. Otherwise, Yonason would never have put us together. So we owe a big debt of gratitude to the whole Simon family, quite apart from everything that they've done for so many years for the Manchester Kehillah, and carried on with the children and the grandchildren, following in the way that their parents and Zayda and Bubba showed them. Should only have simchas in the future.
Shalom, I see you are unmuted. Shalom Wise. Would you like to
Am I
share something?
unmuted? Yeah, sure. And my memories go back a long, long way. I remember Ruthie Oleh Shalom as a girl, learning to drive with Rochel Grosskopf, so now Rochel Guttentag, helping in the shop. Always, as I wrote in to you, with a smile on her face, and all through the years that I've had contacts with them, they made a number of our chasnas, I think 6 in all, and helped a lot with organizing. They made Sheva brachas. There was always a warmth and a friendliness. And it was all over. It was not just restricted to me, it was restricted to the community. And it's a major loss to the community not to have them, not to have her there together with Shalom, always doing all that they did for us. Really can't carry on. I mean, we worked with camps together as well. They gave me a lot of advice when I was running the Lubavitch camps, helped to find camps, also always with an open hand, with a warm hand. And the house was always open to everybody. You should only come together from now on for simchas. I'm stuck here in Eretz Yisrael, so I can't really say I'll come and see you, but hope to get back to Manchester sometime. And if Shloimo's around, which I did see some glasses on top of a forehead, which I recognized, I'll try and find him here in Yerushalayim. I'm in Yerushalayim myself. And hopefully, as we're old schoolmates, we'll be able to get together at some stage. I'm in Ramat Shlomo. My Manchester telephone number works here in Ramat Shlomo.
Thank you, Rav Shalom. Next on my screen is Bubba Ruthy.
This is son.
Yes.
Uncle Shlomi. We hear you.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you, Uncle Shlomi.
I can hear you if you're speaking to me.
Good. Can you see me as well?
Yes,
No.
we see you.
Not anymore. No,
You're not missing anything, Shalom.
I am.
Okay. Can the host
I
please?
see your son. I mean, before COVID, Shalom, I used to see your son very frequently running the stand.
Yeah, we bumped into each other, remember, once in Mesharim. Yeah,
Did?
you were on the same road you were parked as Shaila Moira bookshop.
I don't remember.
Okay, well, I'll have to find you and maybe we can get together.
I live in Ramot.
You're in Ramat and I'm in Ramat Shlomo.
So you're about 20 minutes away.
Ramat Aleph based.
Ramat Polin.
Matt Polin, no, in the egg boxes.
Near the egg boxes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try and find you. Are you in the Shemesh, in the Haredi Victor? No.
Have you got a pen?
Yeah.
940.
540.
No, 9.
940. Okay.
7091.
7091. Okay. Im Yetz Hashem, I will be in touch.
Thank you, Rav
You should
Shalom.
be well.
God
And can the host
Welcome
please
back,
unmute Bubba Ruthy? Bubba Ruthy, would you like to share something?
Okay, off you go.
Okay.
If I refer to,
Ruthy, just call her Ruthy.
if I just say Ruthy, because that's how I always knew her. And as far as I was concerned, Ruthy was always smiling. I'm sure there was a more serious side to her, her, but I only saw her smiling and bustling around, busy. And I'm reminded of something that the Rebbe once said to my late husband and me when he discussing something, and the Rebbe seemed to be addressing his remarks to me, and then Sinan said, "But what about me?" And the Rebbe very quickly replied, "But your partnership, you do everything together." And that's how one of my recollections of Ruthy and Shalom. Busy in the kitchen, preparing, catering. That's only one thing. And then I recollect when Honey and Yossi were at their Hasana, and very hesitatingly, I tiptoed sort of thing to Ruthy, and I said, I knew they did catering. I said, is the catering all right? And she put her thumbs up, nodded her head. There was no buts about it. There was no question of, Mummy, I would have done this, I would have done that if it would have been me. She was unbegrudging in praise. And then the first time I met her was at Honey and Yossi's.
I thought it was on mine, not on mine.
Okay, we'd like to give other people a chance to speak. So we'll move on to Turk family, friends for a really long time with Masjid and Bubba. Okay, Label and Mrs. Turk, you're unmuted.
We have to be united one with the other. And get back.
Yeah, I'm afraid Label doesn't remember and doesn't remember who's who, doesn't recognize people. But for us, the remembrance of every circus that comes round since you've stopped coming is everyone remembers and everyone mentions we used to have Shaman Ruthy here. And we really miss her. I see Shalom needs a refuah shalem also, whatever it is that's bothering him. And we should all have just good things to share. And welcome Yenachem Eschem B'sach Shara Ve'Letzion Yerushalayim. Good news only.
I mean, thank you very much. Next, we'll move to Peter Bonner, a cousin of ours. If the host can unmute Peter.
I just wanted to wish everyone a long life. And I remember going over to Uncle Sholem and Auntie Ruthie's house after work. Used to stop over there, and it was wonderful to have them at our wedding. And we just wanted to wish you a long life to everyone.
Thank you, Peter. Julie Balsam, isn't it? Another cousin.
Hi. All my memories of Auntie Ruthie were either around simchas or food, whether it was Begi Rochel's wedding and the hustle and bustle that I remember in the house, or a kitchen that was completely overwhelmed with food at Purim when I was really quite small, before you were even born, Ellie. And they were just, well, Uncle Sholem of it. Auntie Ruthie was just so lovely and warm and smiley, and always it was always a pleasure to see her. And I'm thinking of you all, as a Simon who's next to me, but you can't see her on the screen. And we just wish you all a long life.
Thank you, Julie and Simon. Does Rivki Edelman want to say something? You keep your screen off, it's okay. If not, we can move on to Rabbi Mendel Safran.
Auntie Ruthie, as we knew her, one of the few people that wasn't related to us that had the title Auntie. But Auntie Ruthie and Salangayor and Uncle Sholem were very, very close friends of my parents. As we heard before, their achdus, the unity between them as a very, very close couple, is something that everybody could learn from. Incredible. I always saw them working together, being together, helping their children and einiklach. You knew when there was a simcha. I speak mainly at what I saw in Sheffield, but I'm sure it was with the other einiklach as well. They were there at the forefronts with the Geschmacker catering. In fact, my whole life, I knew you want a nice Hamisher cooking, you want the Simons. I discovered for the first time that Auntie Ruthie's Hebrew name was Rivka. I never knew that till this week. And it's not surprising that her name was Rivka, because Rivka was known for her hospitality. When Eliezer met Rivka at the well, and he asked her to give him some water, and he offered not only to give Eliezer to drink, but to all of the other people with him and the camels as well. So Auntie Ruthie was an epitome of chesed, an epitome of achnos sorechim, and full of life and simcha. Very positive lady. And that's something, Be'ezus Hashem, which I hope that the mishpacha will continue to have. The Eibishter should give Uncle Sholem gesund, to have continued nachas from your dear children and einiklach and the whole mishpacha for many more gesunter and freiliche Jahren. And I wish David Elio and Mechuna Dodd and Begi Rochel and Yos and all the mishpacha, all the extended close family and the extended family, only simchas from now on. And as the Rebbe said, that the reason why we connect it with Zion in Yerushalayim is to just tell you two very quick nakudas. Number one, that just like Zion is going to be restored to its full glory, so very soon Auntie Ruthie is going to be back with us down here, Beguf Gashmi. And the other thing to remember is that until that point, just like it was only the bricks and stones that the enemy managed to destroy, but the Ruchnius and the Shechina remain in Yerushalayim. So Ruthy's neshama is very, very much with us and will continue to inspire you, dear family, and all of us. And I wish you all only Chaim Aruchim, Gesundheit, and Freiliche Jahren.
Thank you, Randall. And next on my screen is Elliot and Lynn. If the host can unmute Elliot and Lynn, so they can share something.
Hi. We wish you all a long.
Elliot, you've muted yourself again. There we go.
Okay. We wish you all a long life. Everything that can be said about Auntie Ruthie has been said very well by so many people. She was truly a wonderful lady, and I can't really add anything to that. It's very sad, and we wish you all simchas in the future.
Amen. Thank you. And next on my screen is David B. And the host, please unmute David. There we go.
Okay. I think somebody's already mentioned how Auntie Ruthie was always smiling, and it's true. Every time we saw her, she was always happy, always smiling. We've lived in Israel for about 35 years now, and every time Auntie Ruthie and Uncle Shalom came to Israel, they would always come and visit Uncle Henry, my father, Uncle Shalom's brother. They came every single time, even though they would be in Jerusalem, and my father lived in Modi'in, and it was a schlep. They made that journey every time. I always went to see them. I loved seeing them. We will miss Auntie Ruthie so much. We wish you all a long life.
Thank you. The next on my screen is my father. I'm sure he has a lot to say about his mother, but we're here to talk to him. So we'll move on to the next is Pinchas and Minna Gold. We miss you in Manchester. Will you please unmute Pinchas Gold? One second.
We didn't hear.
If you can't find them, we'll move on to Mr. Fivish Pink, and then I'll try and point them out to you.
Really don't feel worthy of adding words to such a special person. One of the things I've mentioned already.
You're unmuted.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. One of the things I mentioned when I spoke to Yosan to Dodd is the fact that it's the most remarkable thing. Maybe it shouldn't be, but I've never, ever had a communal person who works so much for the Kehillah in so many different ways. And everybody only always, not just now, Not because now people want to say good. Always had such wonderful things to say. You've mentioned already the fact that her smile, the Save upon him Yophas, the way she made people feel good. But we personally mentioned to others as well that we had the pleasure of her catering many of our simchas. She made it as if she was doing us the favor, not the other way around. We had pleasure of coming in, as Shalom knows, to your house many times. It was such a pleasure to come and discuss and get advice late in the evenings before you made the simcha. Shalom, of course, was always very there as well with his quiet word. I think the only discussion we ever had, if you want to say discussion of anything, was at our simchas when we tried to insist that they should sit down and join us. In the end, we normally prevailed on Ruthy Aleh Shalom. She should sit for a few minutes and join in the simcha as our paid guests, because that's what they were. But Shalom was too busy always. We still owe you a few meals, Shalom. Please God, we should have the chus to give it you. And we should all take that example of Trachgut Zeingut, which she was such an amazing example of thinking good about everybody and making people feel good, which is so much we should need. Thank you,
Mr. Pink. Next on my screen is Shmuel Weiswish, originally from Manchester. Rabbi Weiswish.
Yes. So I just wanted to wish you all a Mokim Menachem Eschem Shalom Shalom. We had the great pleasure and schus of having you come over to our house just not so long ago here in Montreal for a simcha. It was very, very exciting to have you here. And as mentioned previously, personally, my own bar mitzvah was catered by you, as mentioned by Fabish Pink. It was very exciting to have you take care of the simcha and host it in as if it was your own simcha. So only good and happiness and simchas by everybody. Thank you very much.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi Weiswish. Should we try the golds again? Pinchas Gold, if we unmute you, do you have something to say?
I've got very happy memories of Ruthy, and she also did our simchas for the girls, and always with a smile. And I've known her since I was very young, and she was just a wonderful lady. I can't say anything more than that. And I'd just like to say, Hamakim Yinachem Eshem B'Sech Shari Avein Tzion. That should only have simchas and brachas and everything. Pinchas would like to say something.
Hello.
You don't tell them.
Can they hear me?
No, they can.
We can hear you.
The best thing to say is to say nothing. Whatever you say is superfluous, and it's not fair. One of the reasons why Chabad do not have a spadim, because you're always going to say things which may not be. And in this situation, I feel there's very little we need to say, and we have to say. It's not as Fabish says, Achri Moshe Kedoshim Emma. It's an ongoing thing that people who are good are born good, stay good, and they leave a roshim, and for that we are forever thankful. And that's all we have to say. Amokim,
Amen. Thank you. And next, we're going to hear from Ross Barnett.
Hi, yes. It's just so lovely to hear all the wonderful things about Auntie Ruthie, because she was such a really wonderful person. The thing that I remember most is her, so many people have already said, is her beautiful smile. It truly was wonderful. She was a wonderful person, and she's going to be missed by so many. Wanted to wish all the family a long life and send you all my love from me and from Lionel.
Thank you. Next is Hannah Levy.
Aunt Ruth is my aunt, my father's sister. I grew up in Israel, so I didn't see her on a regular basis, on a day-to-day basis. I know she was surrounded with family. But whenever we did see her, either on family smachot here in Israel or on vacations in England in the last 2 years, I saw her a few times. Whenever we saw her, what the main thing that we always used to remember was her smile, her happiness, her caring. It didn't matter what hour of the day or night we used to come in. We used to come in late after a flight or late after traveling from London. She was always awake, always happy, always interested to hear of our stories. I remember hours of her playing with my father. I remember the phone calls of her and my father. They were very, very close. And for us was being at her house was something that reminded us of our father's life before coming to Israel. And she was very, very important for him and for us.
Thank you, Hannah. Next is Mrs. Tiefenbrunn. I think there's a Rabbi Tiefenbrunn next to her. I can't see. Can the host find them? Okay, we'll move on to Lieba's iPhone. Yeah. Would you like to say something? You'd keep your screen off if that's what you want.
I grew up with
You're
Uncle
muted.
Shalom. I grew up with Uncle Shalom and Aunt Ruthie. My very good memories with them, with the boys that came to stay with us, and when we lived in Crown Heights. And it's a very loss, and we will always remember their cheerful and the connection they had with my parents when they lived in America.
Thank you. And next, I see Rabbi Yossi Turk from Argentina.
No, he was an iPhone. Yes, he was a Turk.
Yes, yeah. So, put it this way. Not that we look forward to doing. I mean, we gotta be present. I mean, my memories from many years ago, but with David Eliyahu, my was my not classmate, but my memories as a child is riding through the Broughton Park with David Eliyahu, and my father going out to learn at least once a week. Where's he going? No, he's going to learn with Shalom Simon. It's Chavrusa. So those are my memories as a child, as from my years in Manchester, and of course the Simons were always part of the family. I mean, mainly more because my sister was best friends with Mrs. Golden, so we were always always together. I remember the summer when I went to visit Manchester Yeshiva, and I see the Simons. I was just a kid, but I went to visit there and I see the Simons there. And in the kitchen, it's just my memories as in New York when I usually wasn't there, when they would come and spend Tish at my parents' home. But anyways, I don't see David Eliyahu. I suppose you're on.
Oh, he's here.
I wish you and Shalom, and Kos and Yossi, and Mrs. Golem, you know, should only have simchas.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi Turk. Just to remind everyone that my Zeta is on, and the 3 children are on this Zoom call, and also my grandmother's brother from Yerushalayim, Shlomi Grunsfeld, and I think her sister's listening in as well. Okay, we'll move on to Moshe Meir Vogel.
Great memories. I want to thank for all the great memories. Auntie Ruthie, Uncle Colum took care of us and took care of everyone. And she should be a good to better on high. And we should only have simcha from now. Hamakim Yenachem Eskem B'Sech Shaveh L'Tziyun V'Yerushalayim.
Amen. Thank you. Esther's iPhone. Esther, would you like to say something? Host see Esther's iPhone.
I'm not muting.
Esther, okay. We'll move. Esther, you're muted. Would you like to say something?
Is this me or the other Esther?
Esther's iPhone.
Esther, you speak. No, somebody unmuted me. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, there's 2 Esther's unmuted. We'll give you.
There is.
Your
Don't
5.
need to mute. Yeah, we want to hear the other Esther.
Okay. Esther Hannah from Israel, your my cousin.
Yes, hello
That's cousin.
everyone. So as my sister Hannah said, my father, David Grunsfeld, was Auntie Ruthie's youngest brother. My father unfortunately passed away just under 2 years ago. We moved to Israel when I was young, but I still had enough years growing up in England to remember Auntie Ruthie, remember coming to Manchester, we lived in Barry, we didn't live in Salford, but we used to come a lot to Auntie Ruthie's house and to visit. And I remember Auntie Ruthie's amazing cooking. She was an amazing cook. I remember her Hungarian goulash. But what I remember most about Auntie Ruthie is her smile that never stopped, and her really large heart, and also her acceptance. She accepted anyone and everyone, no matter their beliefs or lifestyle. You know, my father was a little different than the rest of his family, and we grew up a little differently. And that didn't make any difference to Auntie Ruthie. We were all the same, and she loved us all the same. And she used to come visit us in Israel, and every time she came to my parents' house, and we used to all make an effort to come and to see her. I didn't get to Manchester that often. I'm sorry, but we used to see her whenever we could, and she was just an amazing woman. And you can see the fruit of who she was by seeing what her children are doing today. And she has 3 really amazing children who are really following in her footsteps of chesed, of achnasat orchim, of accepting people and doing the amazing shlichut that they do, each one in their own right and in their own cities and places in the world. And that even her grandchildren are around the world doing chesed and the shlichut of Chabad, and it's just amazing. You know, at least I know that she's in good hands. She's in good company up there with my father and Uncle Hashi. And you know, it's hard for us here because we're all going to miss her very much. But at least we know she's in a really good place, a place that is saved for people like her. Not many people go to a place like that, but she's for sure in a very good place. And hopefully she's up there playing Scrabble with my father right now, because she used to spend hours and hours doing that when my father used to come to England. My father used to try and come for every simcha, family simcha, to England, and he always used to stay by Auntie Ruthie's house. That was his home away from home. I think he always felt at home in Auntie Ruthie's house, and she always remembered what every one of her siblings liked to eat. And so when my father came, she used to make sure she had all the food that he liked. And when Uncle Shlomi came, she used to make sure he had the salmon he liked. And everybody had the food that they liked to eat. And she remembered, and she went out and got the stuff and made a meal for them. And even my mother, who's, you know, not a blood relative, but she felt very, very close to Auntie Ruthie. Auntie Ruthie always accepted her and gave her all of her warmth and love. And especially since my father passed away 2 years ago, Auntie Ruthie and my mother spoke every week. And you know, she was like a sister to my mother, which was very important to my mother. And you know, it's very sad, but I know her legacy is now continuing in her children and in her grandchildren. And Be'ezrat Hashem, for many, many more years. Hamakom yenachem otchem im shar Evlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim.
Amen. Thank you, Esther. And does the other Esther want to give it a go? Okay, there's a more Esther unmuted.
No, because we're traveling to Sheffield now, just to drop some stuff off and then go back.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
And Mora Esther, not sure who that is. You're unmuted.
That's Esther Miriam. I doubt if she'll say anything.
Oh, how about Lipkin?
That's mixed with Betty.
Oh, Leah's unmuted.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're muted now. If you want to say something.
Is that, are you asking us, Ellie?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to say things. I'd probably take up too much time to say everything that I would like to say, but I'll tell you off the top of my head, okay? Your mum, Aleh Shalom, has always been a part of our lives for so many years. We go way, way back. When I was a young girl, my mum, Aleh Shalom, and Estelle Klein, and your mum, Aleh Shalom, were all friends in Neshei Chabad. And I think that's probably where I first knew her from, as I was growing up, and eventually became also part of Neshei Chabad. And of course, we knew her professionally because she catered our simchas. And the word simcha very much belonged to Ruthie Aleh Shalom. She was always besimcha. When you spoke to her, when you saw her, she was always so happy to see any of us. And I'm sure she was the same with everybody. I know she was. And when we dealt with her for the simchas, we felt she was part of the simcha. In fact, we used to ask if they would, your mum and dad would sit at the tables. We wanted them to, and we said we'll pay for your 2 places to join us at the simcha. And they wouldn't let us, obviously they wouldn't let us pay, but they certainly wanted to be part of the simcha. And they definitely were. And again, I feel that they were probably like that with everybody they dealt with. They were very, very special. Your mum, Aleh Shalom, was somebody who we're just privileged to have known such people. I was speaking to Minna just yesterday or the day before, Minna Gold, about the people that we know or knew from Manchester. We knew such wonderful people. Your mum is way up there on the list, and we just wish that B'ezras Hashem she'll be thinking of you all and looking after you all from up there. I'm sure she will, and we won't forget her or any of the other ladies and people that we've known so well who are not with us anymore. Sorry, Ellie, Yossi's just reminding me that you might not know. I'm addressing myself to Ellie because you're the MC, but obviously
we're speaking to all of you. And you might not know that we made Aliyah, and we're actually speaking to you from Ramat Bet Shemesh Aleph. It's our 3rd month here now. We spent 3 months here, and yeah, even though we were here, we were still thinking about the people we've left behind, and we've said to everybody, we don't miss Manchester, we miss the people. And your mum is certainly going to be missed now. I'm sorry if I've been a bit rambling and whatever, and I'm not able to say exactly what I want to say, but you should know that she was very, very special.
Thank you. Whatever you've said is very much appreciated by the family. We'll move on to, there's an H. Does H want to say anything?
Mm-hmm.
Or grandma? Grandma. Not my grandma. The host can unmute someone else's grandma. There we go.
Thursday, I spoke to her for about 10 seconds.
The grandma doesn't want to speak, so we will move on to
Next day, Friday, I was told she's not eating.
Alexander.
She's sleeping. So then I realised I was very uncomfortable that Shabbos thinking.
Anyway, it's a bracha when they go so fast. She could have stopped for you.
Okay, please mute grandma. There we go. And move on to Alexander. There we go. Alexander, you're unmuted. Not sure who this is. I don't see the full name. Okay. Maybe we can hear from the grandchildren. You know, the grandchildren want to say something. Maybe Shmuley Simon or Hindi or Hyla. Raise your hand and the host will unmute you. See, Shmuley is unmuted.
Yeah, I mean, just to say what everyone else has been saying in terms of Bobby. She's always had a smile, was always happy, always showed an interest in us. As other people said, she's always waiting up late when we drive down from London, coming late, 11, 12 o'clock at night, and she was always waiting there and wanted to make sure we were fed, to make sure my father ate, etc. Never forgot any of our birthdays, always made sure to send a post in the cards. Usually had some money in it as well, which is always lovely. And even just now, I mean, Bobby told my father that she needs to send a card to Mushki and Label, had their birthdays yesterday, so even until right at the end, she was worried about everyone's birthdays. And yeah, she was just didn't like any Lashon Hara, was just always everything, only nice things to say about her, and always she's always smiley and lovely, and that's, yeah, she'll be deeply missed, and but she'll definitely look up from above from all of us, and hopefully we keep her nachas. And thank you, Eli, for moderating.
There's a Leah. Would you like to say something? And Hosea Leah. Oh, you've spoken already. Oh. How about Hindi? Hindi Levy, Ni Gollum. Would you like to share something? I'm the host to mute Hindi. Oh. Okay, and there's someone on the phone that called in. I'm not sure if they want to say something. It's number 4831. Okay, Kyla, we want to hear from you.
I'll try my best, but there's a lot of noise here. I don't even know where to start. I started writing up some things and I hope to continue. It's so wonderful to hear all the things people are telling, just even tiny little one-liners that perhaps we never knew or we knew but just didn't really think much of. It was just regular life for our Bubba, between us and Bubba. It's so comforting to hear. And in our minds, she's still here. She ain't gone anywhere. I mean, I'm coming tomorrow and I expect to see her at the end of the bench because it's just always been that way. So I just don't know what to say. I can't believe people actually go through this. I can't believe people go through this grief and pain. It's really horrible. And the only thing we can do is just keep going on and try and just emulate her, because I want my grandkids to have what I had. So very big shoes to fill. Very, very big shoes to fill. I don't know. I wish her kids, you know, Arichas Yomim, I'll see you this week. And I've even been hearing from grandchildren of Bubba's friends who I'm friends with now. A cousin of mine, she says she's just not having it. Her grandmother is just not having it. She's just completely, it's not happening. She's in denial and it's just not real. And that's where I'm at right now. So, but either way, thank you everyone for all the messages and for all the memories and the little things that Bubba did and the big things that Bubba did. And she'd only want us to keep going. She'd only want us to be laughing our heads off. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's it. I could go on forever and I'm not going to, so I'll back off right now. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you, Kyla. Will Hannah Grant like to share something? Can you unmute Hannah Grant?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, I just, you know, it was a very special relationship that my grandmother had with Auntie Ruthie, and it always taught us a thing or three whenever we were fighting. My mother used to say, look at how Auntie Ruthie and Grandma behave. Yeah, she was very special. I cherish the memories I had in Benos camp in the summer. Kept coming again and again. with Uncle Shalom and Auntie Ruthie there in the kitchen, cooking all that fabulous food. I still talk about those football-sized meatballs that we had. They were absolutely, absolutely amazing. And yeah, we were always the lucky ones who got into the adults' dining room for the salad leftovers after supper. And yeah, I used to go with my grandmother in recent years, actually, to Uncle Shalom and Auntie Ruthie for Shabbos lunch sometimes. I would take her there, and Auntie Ruthie would cook the most amazing cholent with salami that I always still talk about. But yeah, she was an amazing woman who always taught me a lot in terms of never got angry, very patient, and just such a fun-loving, happy person who everyone just wanted to be friends with. I truly felt like she treated me like a grandchild, even though, you know, I'm just a niece. My mother always talks about the, you know, the amazing Hachnosas Arachim that she had there. She spent a year growing up in Auntie Ruthie and Uncle Shalom's house. And in recent years, I would go with Auntie Ruthie to deliver Shachmanas on Purim. We just all used to love going there. It was just such a, you know, always such happy memories and such fun times there. And we're all really, 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 really sad. What can I say? And I just wanted to wish Fig Rachel and Yossi and Dodd and and Uncle Shalom and all the family. Thank
you, Hannah. And we'll move over to Rabbi Liberov from South Africa. Stepped away, looks like. So we will go to Razel Gollum from London.
Hi, just want to have such fun memories. I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, we hear you.
Such fun memories from all the years back growing up in Manchester. Auntie Ruthie was always at every simcha. She either catered it or she was there as a guest. And in the last years, spending Sukkot and Shavuos at Big Rochel in Jonathan's house in Sheffield, she was such a happy person to be around. And in fact, my kids, she was either Bubba or Auntie Ruthie. She was never Mrs. Simons to my kids. And I just want to wish you all only simchas from now on.
Thank you, Razel. And Ya'akov Brunsfeld, would you like to share something?
Yeah, for sure. So I remember we used to go a few years ago, once a year with Auntie Ruthie and Uncle Shalom. And one of my biggest memories that she had an open house, very loving to everyone. She used to always be, how to say in English? She was always there for my parents, phoning, asking what's going on, trying to help and everything. And she was a really, really hot person, loving person. A lot of very good memories from her.
Thank you, Ya'akov.
Ya'akov, did she used to bring you special English snacks? Was it you or Ellie? She used to bring English crisps.
Ellie. But I do remember the good cakes and the good food when we used to come. I do remember.
For sure.
We just got in our family group a video of Auntie Ruth and my father. And in that video, you can see her opening a cake and the pickles. And that's I remember that memory from a good few years ago, sitting there and eating the cake.
Okay, now viewers are muted too, so you can also jump in.
No, I'm unmuted?
Yeah.
Okay, so my latest memory from Auntie Ruthie is from last year when I was very lucky after not being in Manchester for 17 years. I was lucky and celebrated with Auntie Ruthie her 70th birthday. And no, sorry, not her 70th birthday, her 80th birthday. And it was a big memory, a trip down memory lane. Seeing Auntie Ruthie, seeing the family, And I'm very, very grateful that I had that opportunity to see her after so long of not seeing her. I think the last time before that was when she came out for Yaakov's wedding a few years earlier than that. My biggest memories of Auntie Ruthie is when she came to Israel and playing Scrabble with my father, or just hearing Uncle Shalom sitting and talking till the early hours of the morning. And I remember my father's and my mother's excitement when they knew that they were coming to Israel and that we were going to spend time with them, and when they went over to eat with them in the hotel. Memories that we're very happy to have. Unfortunately, I didn't grow up with Ruthie. I didn't grow up in Manchester, and I didn't have the support to have all the memories of going to camp and everything else. And I'm enjoying seeing what everyone else is putting on the WhatsApp groups, because it gives me to know my aunt a bit better than I had the support to know her personally. So keep the stories going, because it's a wonderful way to me to know her better.
Thank you, Aviva. And Rabbi Liberov has returned. Rabbi Liberov, would you like to share something?
First, I only want to wish Nichumim to the Avelim, to Uncle Shalom, to David Eliyahu. We grew up together as Dad, his younger brother Yossi, and to Mrs. Garland as well. First, the Eibushish, Menachem, Makim, then in the Chama, Velocis, for the David, you should never know for the sorrow. And as never, you know, Kol Hayamim. You should only know of Tov and Chesed, Kol Hayamim, all your days. We come together only for simchas, for sharing good things with each other. I actually came across this. It's probably written by Auntie Ruthie 50 years ago, 1971, Tafshin Lamed Aleph. It's when I went to the Rebbe for the very first time. I think she came around to my house the night before we left, and she gave me a coin to use for stock in New York. So this is a quarter for you to use to spend in New York. Tafshin Lamed Aleph, 1971, Kislev. Of $1 or 25 cents, and it's worth 2 over 10. Don't lose it. Have a nice time, Uncle Shalom, Auntie Ruthie. I saw this morning in my file. I just wanted to share it with you. I remember it goes back many, many years ago to the days of 48 Welbeck Grove, when again I was together with the Dodds in Cheder in the school. I used to come there spend nights over there in the house. I just want to share that, as was said by many people before me, that she always took an interest in not just in her own family, but also in the families of others. And myself, my younger brother Zalman, we were very close to the mishpacha, and she was always took an interest in how we're doing in school. And many years later as well, when I used to come back to visit in Manchester, it was always how you doing, Mendel and Zalman. So I appreciate the friendship that she showed to our family. And the Eibusher Shataka held that all the good things have been said about Auntie Ruthie should be in her schus. And the V'achai yitin aliba is, as the Rebbe often quotes, V'achai, to take to heart and to learn from her midos tovos, the good midas and the friendliness that she showed in the smiling face, the sefer panim yafos, to somehow incorporate it into our life as well. And as I just said, being said today also, that to be able just to care for each other, to care more for each other, to show a concern. Ahavas Yisrael, this certainly should be in her schus. And again, in the chama to the family, and take very, very, we should take a Mashiach and Tchias HaMesim, and families will be as the greatest aliyah. The greatest aliyah for Neshama is when Neshama comes down into this world again. So it's not going higher spiritually, but it's coming down into this world. Neshama should be reunited with Mishpachas, please God, and we should see Mashiach take her from Yad Mamish now. Thank you for the opportunity, and again, I wish the time Mishpacha Arichas Yamim Mishon and Tevus, good years and only simchas.
And thank you, Rabbi Leverov, and thanks for sharing that letter. Racheli, another cousin from Israel, would you like to share something?
Hi, everyone. My biggest memory from Auntie Ruthie is from the camps. I did go every so often to the camps. And I've not been to Manchester already for a few good years. And the only thing I remember from Manchester is Auntie Ruthie's house and Auntie Ruthie giving us food and taking care of us when we were there. And I've not seen Auntie Ruthie for a few years. The last time I saw Auntie Ruthie was in Yaakov's wedding. So it's very sad. We were planning to go this summer to England, but it didn't work out. So I missed my chance, but I have good memories from Auntie Ruthie. And that's it.
Thank you, Racheli. And Ellie, you want to hear about all the nash you got? Ellie, you're muted.
What? Excuse me?
You're unmuted. And you want to share anything that you remember? Or just
No, I said I do have a few memories from Manchester. Most of the memories are, of course, Auntie Ruthie's house. I can't say I remember every corner and every room in there. I remember the fridge full of milk and cereals for every morning to eat. So you could just be there, eat there. You never come out hungry. But the last memory I have from Manchester with Auntie Ruthie, except for seeing her at my brother's wedding, was at 2011. I was in Manchester, and just before the match of Manchester United against Aston Villa, she told me, "Come, you need to eat that you'll have strength to see the match." So she made a huge meal just before I left to the match. That's the last memory I have from Manchester and Auntie Ruthie's house. But literally, I can draw her house from her garage to her garden, upstairs, the living room, the eating room, kitchen, everything. I didn't see her in the last 2-3 years, or my wife didn't get to know her. She didn't get to know my son, unfortunately. She missed the chance, but I'm sure from Shemaim she's watching.
Thank you, Ellie. And we have Dog Bear and Sonia Klein. Would you like to share something?
I'm just bringing it in and I'm going to close it. I'm going to park it.
Okay. I don't know if Yaakov's grandfather's still on, but I remember Bubba retelling the story over and over of when he was born, how Uncle David called him, tricked him that it was a 6th girl, and then he started booming down on the phone, "Of course I've had a boy, of course I've had a boy." Great story.
Dr. Klein, you're unmuted.
So, yeah, we are unmuted now. Well, I just want to say that first of all, she catered 2 of the bar mitzvahs of our sons, and at one she asked me, "Which color serviette do you want?" So I said, "Black and red." She looked at me and she said, "Are you sure?" She was like, like my husband said, it was very no frills, simplicity, but everything that she made was so good, so consistently good, you know. Whatever she catered, whatever she made was, you know, it tasted always good. Also, I want to say that I didn't see her very often. By the time I saw her was Yutet Kislev, because she catered the Yutet Kislev Suda, and I went to do the centerpieces. So we interacted then. I believe Rabbi Jaffe said that she catered the Yutet Kislev Suda for 50 years. That's a long time. And also, since tonight is Chabet Shvat, I want to add that she really always enjoyed the Chabet Shvat through the meals at event that we did in Neshe. She always sat there with her sister. May she be well, and she always enjoyed it tremendously. You could see, you know, how she beamed, and she was so happy to be there at the Neshe event.
My relationship with the family goes back a very, very long way, because Shloim, I was in Boston Jewish Primary School with David Oliver Shalom, and his brother Shlomo, who is here, I think. Yeah, he was in my brother's class in Broughton Jewish, so we go back a long way. And I think they used to live on Northumberland Street, at the top of Northumberland Street on the left. Is that right, Shlomo? Yeah. Now, when we got married, that was when I first, even before, in fact, before we got married, I think my first recollections of the family Simon were the Malava Malkas, which they used to make in their home. And over the years, as my wife said, they catered many functions of ours. But what I liked so much about Mrs. Simon, she had this beautiful smile, and she was always willing to help, and she was so full of that kind of warmth and bounciness that we all know. Funnily enough, my mother's sister in London reminded me very much of her, because my mother's sister was also a very good cook, and she also had the same sort of frame and demeanor. And whenever I saw Mrs. Simon, I always thought about my auntie, who had this very similar kind of mood and full of chesed. And as you know, over the years, we used to arrange meals for people who didn't have meals for Shabbos. You know, Michael Adler and Mr. Telsner and Mr. Shuflieder, going back many, many, many years. And whenever we needed, you know, help, I'd phone up Mrs. Simon and say, look, can you give a Shabbos meal for such and such a person or such a person? She, you know, she would never ever say no, and it was always, she'd always say yes with a very great desire to do the mitzvah. You know, she was always a person who she was never sort of doing you a favor in doing a mitzvah. She knew it was a mitzvah, and therefore she knew that she was doing herself a favor with all her kindness. And all I can say is that I've only got wonderful memories of her.
Okay, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Klein. And we see a message here from Rabbi Yitzchak K. wishing the Beilim Hamakim Menachem. Move on to Mrs. Rivka Weinberg from Manchester, who would like to share something.
So, where to start? My very, very first memories are of walking with a group of girls over from, we'd meet at the Jaffe's and walk over on Pesach to the Mashiach, so that I couldn't wait till I was old enough to go to the Simons for the Mashiach, so that they used to put on year after year for Bnei Chabad. And actually, when Dov Klein just spoke, it reminded me she also used to make Malava Malkas for Bnei Chabad, and it was always such a treat when we had it in the Simons' house, because we always knew it was going to be amazing. So those are my very first memories of sitting in the long room there, and it was like a huge room for me in those days. And we'd all sit there with our Mashiach Soda and our Malava Malkas. And then over the years, as I got more involved with Neshe, well, I should really say my chasna, she
amazingly made a different menu for Levi for the hors d'oeuvre. I still remember, because he didn't like the hors d'oeuvre that we liked, and she really thought of everything for everyone. And then she sent home the food to the hotel afterwards for us, and it was just so special to have her as part of our simchas, as you know, as catering it, because you know, her and Reb Shalom were just like amazing. Just they looked at every detail and really made you feel comfortable. And then, as I say, when we went into Nashe, she, you know, she never attended that much, but when she did come, she was always really, really well. You know, it was so nice to see her there, as I'm sure has been mentioned time and time again. Her beautiful, beautiful smile, and whenever she saw anyone, it would light up the room. And she made you all feel so special and so welcome and so, you know, happy. She felt, you know, you just felt happy that she was there at your simcha or your event or whatever it was that was there. And, you know, as Sonia said, Chof Shvat tonight. I mean, we're all sitting at home on our Zooms, but that was definitely something that I know she made a very big effort to come to. And you know, she will be very, very sorely missed in the Manchester community. What can I say? It's, you know, I just want to end off with Hamakom Yinachem, Eschem B'Sach Sha'arei Erev Le'Siyam V'Yushalayim, and we should, in Mitzvah Hashem, only share simchas.
Right, thank you,
I
Mrs. Weinberg.
believe your mother has the precious chopped and fried fish balls recipe.
Apparently so, yes.
How do I know? Because I once bit into a fishbowl of your mother's at a Pink Express, and I said, this tastes just like my Bubba's, and no one makes fish balls like my Bubba's. And she said, actually, it's her recipe.
My mother actually said whenever she needed anything made in bulk, which, you know, Kanai Hara, you know, our family was big with all the guests, she always used to go to Ruthie to get the recipe from. She has the potato kugel, she has the gefilte fish, she has, yeah, can't beat it.
It's delicious.
So I'm sure you probably have it, but if anyone needs it, they can always get it from my mother.
Okay, and Goldie Grant.
I got interrupted. Can I finish then, Ali? Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, quickly, because other people want a chance.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I just yeah. Oh, we get cut. We keep getting cut off. I don't know what's happening. Okay, I just wanted to say that you've got a wonderful person to look up to, and the whole family has always been very, very warm, and we contributed so much to Lubavitch and to the Manchester community that she's leaving a wonderful legacy behind her. At this point, I want to wish you a Makom Menachem Shachar V'Alei Tzim V'Shalayim. She'll have long and happy years and only good memories for sure.
Right, thank you. And Goldie Grant would like to share next. The host can unmute.
Yeah.
Goldie, you're on.
Okay, hi. Sorry. Hi, so sorry I can't get the video on, but I guess a message will have to suffice. I've got so much to say about Auntie Ruthie that, you know, I'm not quite sure what point or which character trait of hers to hone into. But one thing I've thought about before is we all know what a wonderful person she was and how well liked she was and how kind and generous and helpful towards other people she was. But yet she wasn't a walkover, you know, she wasn't like a lemela either. She had all these fabulous qualities, and yet she always made sure to do the right thing as well. She didn't get, you know, turned aside or pulled away, you know, due to her niceness, so to speak. I used to go around very regularly. I was often the messenger between Grandma and Auntie Ruthie, taking around all sorts of goodies between each other. And every time I went, she had time to talk to me, and I would ask her about the family and where everyone was up to. Can I know her quite a lot to keep tabs on? This one's here and that one's there. And she was extremely proud of all of her children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and of the amazing work that they were doing and that they continually do. She had golden hands. I believe that came from Papa. Grandma often says she could do anything, she could make anything, she could do anything. Extremely, extremely talented. And of course, we all remember the delicious food she made as well, be it at simchas or camp or whenever we would go around there. It was always a great time, and we'll definitely miss her. What can I say? Hamakom Yinachem Eschem Zaychsha B'Etzion Yerushalayim, and you should all have kaya, and may should be a Meretz Yaisha on behalf of us all.
Amen.
Thank you, Goldie. I see there's still there's a niece from Israel that hasn't had a chance yet, and some friends from Manchester. But before we move on to them, my uncle Yossi would like to share something.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So first, I'd like to thank Ellie for organizing and moderating this Zoom Shiva event. I want to thank you all for your good wishes and your support and all your stories. It's phenomenal. Nachama. We're taught that everyone needs to have mazel. Even a Sefer Torah that's in the Aron HaKodesh, very often there's a whole bunch of Sefer Torah there. The one that gets chosen on a particular day to be used, it's a mazel which one gets chosen. Now, every person needs to earn a parnasa. You need to support yourself. So a person could get a job as an undertaker. It's an honest job, big mitzvah, but it's not necessarily the most enjoyable simchadik mitzvah to do. My parents had the mazel, beautiful mazel, to get involved with catering, simchas, weddings, bar mitzvahs. I'm not very good at statistics, but maybe one of the grandchildren can work out how many meals of simcha was served. For weddings, generally you get a bit of notice. Bar mitzvahs, you get about 13 years notice. Bris milah, they may have got a few hours notice, especially with Manchester Moilim. Sometimes they've done Pidyon Haben before Bris milahs in Manchester, but it's all simchas. Over 50 years in Banos camp, work out how many meals of joy they served over there. 2 weeks of camp, times about 100 girls, times 50 years. Work out how many meals they had there. The Manchester Yeshiva. Again, these are Bachurim sitting, learning and davening all day with the energy sustained from the food that they ate that my parents cooked for them. Again, people very often say there's no favorites, but as I've heard from my cousins in camp, if they were a relative of some sort, they got to the front of the queue or they got seconds or thirds from my mother. Same thing in Yeshiva. I believe there were a number of favorites over there. There's a gentleman over here called Rabbi Brief, and he told me once that my mother would give him, she had a soft spot for him, and she would give him extra portion of cake or extra portion of food. She made sure that he got extra bit of food. But just work out how many meals went through. They supplied the yeshiva and how much learning was done with the food that they supplied and fed the boys in yeshiva. So again, we all have mazel, and they have the mazel that their job and their occupation was to do with simcha and joy and limud haTorah for so many people. And when Dov came on to speak, I just thought of all the people, and Dov mentioned it, all the people that he supplied them for Shabbos meals or midweek meals that came to the house, who had no family of their own, Sabrachana people, and Dov sent them to the house. The first Navamalka for men of the season, I think usually my parents did. That's when the winter started. And today, Baruch Hashem, Manchester, Chabad, Lubavitch, Manchester is very, very big. Baruch Hashem, Knei Nahara. But if someone could think back to the first days in the old building of Lubavitch, when the fewer Nash members would meet together and work together, different programs, how Lubavitch is going to build and develop, and so on. And the Malava Malkus, I believe, were the families together, and they were like an intimate, small foundations of Lubavitch, Manchester. And Baruch Hashem, from that, it's grown phenomenally. I want to take this opportunity to shout out to my brother and sister-in-law, Todd and Esty, who for all the years did not miss a day visiting my parents in the home in 105 Leicester Road, and to see that they're okay, to see if they need anything. You know, for the rest of the family, it's very important for us to know that someone's going in every day just to check to see that they have everything they need. Also, a shout out to my sister Rachel and Jenison, who visited our parents throughout all the Yom Tovim, and also the past 10 months or so. So again, thank you for that. So as the Rebbe always says, especially Chof Bei Shvat, the Rebbe will say, "V'hachai yitain aliboy." It's not just that people come on the Zoom and they whittle on. It's the people who are listening. We should take a message from something good that my mother has done and try and incorporate it in your life, whether it's a smile or not getting faribbled, not getting upset with every little thing, or trying to find yourself a job. I'm not sure how many jobs are available at the moment, but find yourself a job that's involved in something positive, in simcha, in joy, in positive interaction with people. And while I've got the mic, I'll conclude with a nechem avedim to my father, my brother, my sister, and to Aunt Eva and Uncle Shlomi Hamakim Yilachem Esrem B'Seich Shah Avedei Sion Yerushalayim.
Thank you, Uncle Yossi. And I see someone posted in the chat, and I'm not sure who it is. It just has a phone name. But Banos Camp estimate 320,000 meals over the years. Move on to Yehudit in Israel. Cousin.
Hi, and sorry if I have noise in the background. The news took us really, we were quite shocked of the news. We weren't quite prepared for another loss in such short time. To us, Auntie Ruthie, we didn't grow up. Adi? I'm sorry. We didn't grow up with cousins and uncles and aunts so close geographically as children, but even so, we got to know all our uncles and aunts, and that was because of the very close relationship that my parents had with all the siblings. Whenever they came to Israel and whenever we came to England, we were always welcomed with a warm and happy smile. Always Auntie Ruthie welcomed us with a smile and with a warm hug and always good words. And you always felt that you belonged, no matter what, even though if you grew up in a totally different culture, we didn't see each other for so long. It didn't make any difference. We felt that we belonged and that we were her nieces and nephews, and no matter what. To me, Auntie Ruthie is her kitchen, and the ultimate kitchen, the ultimate Jewish Hungarian kitchen. And to me, Auntie Ruthie is Scrabble. Whenever she used to come to Israel or Abba go there, they always, hi, how you doing? A big, happy, warm smile and straight to business, down to the Scrabble. And the food and the achnasat orchim. And it's a big loss for all of us. We were all taken by shock that Auntie Ruthie passed away. And I don't think there'll be anything that can fill that void. The wonderful children, my cousins, my first cousins, even though we were so far away, I feel that I know them, and whether they came to Israel from yeshiva, whenever I came to England, always made an effort to come in to say hello. And she left behind her with Uncle Shalom, who we love so much. Uncle Shalom, hi. We love you so much with Auntie Ruthy. And she left behind wonderful children and grandchildren, and such a big legacy that anybody can be proud of. So I want to all wish you bemet nechama, and that you'll find comfort. I know what you're going through. And זהו, המקום ינחם אתכם בתוך שאר אולי ציון. לא תפסיקו לדאבה.
Amen. Thank you, Yehudit. Mrs. Lewis, would you like to share something? Mrs. Gita Lewis.
I wasn't really going to say anything because I don't like speaking publicly, but go a very long way back with Ruthy and Shalom, as I did hear Rivka say at the end also about all the Chofbei Shvats and Yutas Kislevs that we all did together. They were just an amazing couple to work with, so easy, so grateful, so happy with what anybody did for them. You know, the girls, the women came to help, and they just were so thankful for it all. And I don't know why, because it was lovely working together with them. They were so easy to work with. The families, of course, go back a long way, and then joined up when the Golems, our daughter, married Daniel. And Vega Roch also, I know from a long time ago. So it's very, very sad. There's most beautiful memories there. She's produced a lovely family, 9 children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. You should all have a lot of comfort from that, a lot of beautiful memories. And only simplest.
Thank you, Mrs. Lewis. My Auntie Khani Simon from London.
Thank you, Ellie. And thank you for putting this whole thing together. First of all, to my Shvat, to Dod, to Fig Rachel, to Auntie Eva, and to Uncle Shlomi, and of course to Yossi. I want to echo what everyone has said, but last night my children phoned Yossi together on WhatsApp from different places. They were calling from New York and from Montreal and from Florida, and then the ones here. And he asked them all to say a memory of Bobby that they wanted, something special they wanted to say. And I'm just going to give over what my children said because I thought it was so special listening to them. It was already mentioned by Shmuley, how they said how Bubba always made sure to send them birthday cards, but it wasn't one envelope, it was 2, one for the card and a plain one for the money, because she didn't want anyone to see a birthday card and think there was money in it and open it. So she went to the trouble of sending 2 envelopes in the post. And then, as Yossi mentioned, even on Wednesday, she mentioned to him, oh, she just missed his birthday and there was a few coming up and she'd missed a few of my last kids, but she was still talking about their birthdays. And they spoke about how they had beautiful homemade challahs when they would come, and Rosh Hashanah, the times at 1:05. Another memory, they said, again, what Shmuley also mentioned is however late we'd arrive, Bubba would always be up, and it was always worried if Yossi had enough food and if there was food for Yossi. And she was always so accommodating and such warm, beautiful memories. One of the kids just said when they heard someone speak about Bubba has golden hands, I think it was Goldie. So they said, yes, Bubba was always doing the alterations. She said she goes to Sheffield and does their alterations. And when Yossi came, she said, oh, is your kapata button loose? Let me sew it for you. And I'm told that she used to sew their clothes when they were very little. She used to make their clothes for them. But that was another talent that Bubba had. But it was really, really nice listening to the children talking about such beautiful things. Yes, my Savita, and she said that they was discussing how Bubba was making a salad, and she said, okay, I'm not going to put lettuce in it for Yossi. And they were like, oh, we don't like this. And they were all saying different things. So she said, okay. And she made them each a salad that they liked with the vegetables they liked, so that they'd all have something that they would eat, because it was very, very important. And the warmth and love and the beautiful memories that they were talking about, I think that is more important than anything else, because it's something they'll always hold on to and cherish and take with them. And all we can really say is the kids around the Sheikh Ne'afa, that should be very, very soon. We should be back here, Bobby, not watching us from above, but down here, Lamata, and let's just have Mashiach. It's enough. Thank you, Ellie.
Amen. Thank you. Right, she wants to say something, but she's having mic issues. We can move on to see if Rabbi. Oh, he's gone. Javi, perhaps. Javi Stern. Or Rosalie.
Yeah, hi, it's
Hi.
Abby Stern. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
we hear
wanted
you.
to say how, to everyone who's sitting Shiva for Auntie Ruthie, how I've just, my camp memories of my summers are just such amazing memories. I always, would love to go into the kitchen just to see Auntie Ruthie there, just for that warm smile she would give every time I came in the kitchen, and she would always put down what she was doing and ask me how my day was and give me her full attention, even though I'm sure she was super busy cooking for everyone in camp. Another memory I have was once I went into the kitchen in camp and she was busy writing a shopping list, and she told me she's going to the supermarket, and she offered if there's anything I need, she'll buy for me. And I was, I was only 13 years old, but it meant so much to me that Auntie Ruthie cared and wanted to buy something for me. A few months ago, I was doing one of these campaigns for an organization in Manchester, and I what's it called? I put it on the Gruntsard WhatsApp group, and I got a call from someone in Sheffield. So I thought it was one of the Golems. So I called back the number, and it was Auntie Ruthie, and she told me she wants to, to donate some money. So she asked me if I would do it for her, because she said she wasn't sure how to do it, the technology, how to do it online. And so I did it for her, and when I put her card details in, I said, so how much would you like to donate? So she told me £50. I thought, I can't be hearing right, because that's, people give £10, maybe, 36 is like the most generous, and it's, people are giving. I said, do you mean 15? She goes, no, I mean 50. I was just so taken aback and so touched that Auntie Ruthie had given so much tzedakah for this organization of mine. She was always so generous and just so kind. And yeah, I want to wish everyone Hamaki Menachem Eschem B'Sosha Avirasi and B'Yerushalayim, and we should have Mashiach soon, and we should all be together again.
Thank you, Javi. Maybe Itzik would like to share something. Putting you on the spot, Itzik. You're unmuted.
I just logged on. That's a very quick. What can I share?
We were waiting for you.
What I could share is, I'm sure that there's nothing that I could share that people haven't heard yet. Everyone knows what an incredible woman Bubba was, and what a incredibly accepting person Bubba was. I shared this with my mother-in-law. That I remember when Dubba and I were engaged, when I came to Manchester, to Sheffield, to visit Dubba before we got married. I remember that feeling that Bubba had created, that feeling, it was, I used the word very safe and comforting feeling. I mean, as we were we were on our own journey, or I was at least on my own journey. And I never got the impression from Bubba that I was, imposing or or running my own track when everybody's expecting me to run a different track. And yeah, there was just a certain sense of love and acceptance. And I remember when the first time I met her, I called her Bubba because that's what felt comfortable for me. I've very frequently used mom and dad for people, but it never felt very authentic. I was very comfortable calling multiple people different adjectives of like I said, mom and dad. But when I called Bubba, there was definitely this strong feeling of connection that Bubba created, or that feeling of safety and acceptance. And very, very few people that I've met in my life have truly created that space for me. And Bubba was without a doubt one in a million. So it's very sad. We lost an incredible human being, an incredible Bubby and mother, and please God, we should be able to reunite with her very soon. And I will use the opportunity to say, I haven't said to anybody yet, so I'm going to say it. And of course, I don't know the words properly, so if anyone wants to correct me, Hamakom Menachem Eschem B'Seich Shar Aveli Tzin Yerushalayim. May we be blessed with just happiness and simchas in the family and only good things from here on out.
Thank you, Itzik. Does Rosalie want to share something? Or Rightsy? Can you mute Rosalie? Okay, that didn't work. Okay, how about Hindi Galam? You want to share something about Bubba?
Eddie.
To your uncles?
Eddie.
Yeah. Okay, there's a couple of people that wanted a few more minutes to formulate their words. Let me see if they're ready. Oh, I think I hear someone.
So what you need to know, you will find you get them. And I tell you something, people all in my
Oh, that's Uncle Shlomi.
family, you're not happy. I tell you something.
I want to say something.
Oh, Uncle Shlomi, you would like to say something?
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we hear you, Uncle Shlomi.
Right. What I wanted to say was something a little bit different. If you take a car like a Rolls Royce, you can have a wonderful engine, wonderful tyres, wonderful clutch. It doesn't work. It's not worth anything without petrol in it. And however marvellous my sister was, and she was marvellous, behind her was the petrol, behind her was Shalom. And without Shalom, all the things that Ruthie achieved in her life, she couldn't have achieved without the help, and without the agreement, and without the everything that Shalom stood for. Because Shalom and Ruthie were one. And I remember as a little child, if I used to cut my knee, raise my arm, one who used to bandage it up with love and kisses was my sister Ruthie. And she used to wrap me very tight in a blanket, because in those days that was the only way to keep warm. I'm going back 60 odd years ago, before all of you were born, and there was no central heating, there was no heating upstairs. And my sister Ruth used to wrap me in a blanket very, very, very tight, like a cocoon, and that's how I used to keep warm. But the most important thing is Shalom should be gesund, because Shalom was always behind Ruthie.
Thank you, Uncle Shlomi. Rabbi Mendel Cohen would like to wish the family a makom. If you can unmute Rabbi Mendel Cohen.
Good evening. I'm sorry I wasn't here at the beginning. And I didn't hear much from the Avelim. So I'm sorry for that, and I hope I get a chance to hear a little more. Just one thing, if I was a little kid growing up in Manchester, and we ran around the yeshiva, and later met Reb Shalom and Ruthy Shalom. I don't know, the word that comes to mind is Pashat gute Menschen, Gutskeit, just oozing out from all sides, Pashat, a Gutskeit, that it's very, with such a no ego, egoless, Pashat Gutskeit. And Zebisha should be Menachem, Hamakim Menachem. Hamakim is because there's a void that cannot be filled by anybody else, and only the Eibishter is Hamakim can fill that void. That's Hamakim Menachem Eschem should fill somehow, bring Nechama into that void that's now been created.
Thank you, Rabbi Cohen. Leah and Tilly, do you want to share something?
Just something very short. I'm not a speaker, but I think there's a couple of things that might not have been mentioned, and I would like to mention them. And one of them is that I had the privilege and the honor of accompanying Auntie Ruthy to Shul on Yom Kippur. It was perhaps 3 or 4 years ago, and I think I went with her twice. And I just wanted to say how she enjoyed the davening, and she stayed from the beginning, from when she arrived until the end of Ne'ilah, and she enjoyed it. I went with her because she found it difficult to walk the last few years, but she was determined to go. That was a great privilege for me. I had lots of privileges, being the eldest of the generation, and I was the oldest niece on the Grunsfeld side. I've got many, many memories, but that one is precious to me. And something else I'm not sure if anybody's mentioned because I've not been on the whole time, but she gave many lifts to people, and it wasn't always only family, it was strangers, it was anybody at Halpins that was carrying bags of shopping, and Ruthie would offer them a lift, take them in her car, take them the whole way home. And she took people to stations, and she did hospital lifts and everything with a pleasure and a smile. And she made whoever received these lifts, made them feel that they were doing her a favor. I've got many, many more stories to tell. I just think that these are something that nobody else has mentioned. And I want to wish all the family Arichas Yomim, to my mother, Uncle Shalom, Uncle Shlomi, David Eliyahu, Fegrochel, Yossi, and everyone Arichas Yomim. Hamakim Yinachem Eschem B'Soch Sha'ah Avei Leitzim V'Yerushalayim. We should share only simchas.
Thank you, Antila. Noach Vogel would like to share something.
It says in Gemara that it's similar to the what they say in English, that a community makes a child. And one second. A person is affected by the community where he grows up. Definitely in Manchester, Reb Shalom, Yibad L'chaim Tevim, and Auntie Ruthy, as we called her, they were such positive contributors to the Yiddish community. When I was growing up about 45, 50 years ago, the community was much smaller. But then Reb Shalom and Auntie Ruthy were were known throughout the community. And whatever they did in working in yeshiva and the catering for simchas and their friendship with my own father, everything was done with warmth, with kindness. And as Mendel Cohen and some other people said, they didn't even realize they're doing it. There's no self. It was just done, it had to be done. They were such good people. And Reb Shalom, the Eibusher should bench you. You should have lange gute Jahren, you and your children, and your Einiklach, and with some more Einiklach. You should only have simchas, and continue being yourself. And Mitzvah Shem, Kitzaran, Sheikh Yafa, and Auntie Ruthie will come back. B'chaim, it's life. Again, I'll say the great, very, very close relationship my father, Alav Shalom, had with, as he calls them, Uncle Shalom and Auntie Ruthie.
Thank you, Noach. Rabbi Singer, would you like to share something?
I'd like to wish the family, Michas Yomim and Oli Simchas. Every time I think about your Mother of Shalom, I'm thinking of all the simchas that she helped us enjoy. Every bar mitzvah and every wedding, they were an integral part of it. Sheva brachos in the house. And they were just so much part of our life. We couldn't even imagine making a simcha without having input from the Simon's caterers and making sure everything was, they're so gracious and kind, and the way everything was, it was what can I say? Should only wish you simchas and Arich Shalom in the future, Mr. Shem. Yeah.
I mean, thank you. And now I'll ask my uncle Yonason, was only son-in-law, to close the Zoom and share something about Bubba.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you for all of those taking part and the wonderful stories and memories and the gute Sachen which we've heard. The main thing is, as we leave this, is of course, is what can we take away with all of this? With some sort of, I think somebody mentioned earlier, the Rebbe, whose Rebbetzon's yacht site is coming up shortly tonight. It's Hashem, is to be able to. The Rebbe used to say that achayit in the living means, it said about his own wife. The living have to take to heart, to learn from the good example set by the person about whom you are speaking. The person leaves this world, to go up together with him or her. All the machshavos, diburim, maisim, all the thoughts, the things you've said, and things you've done. The thoughts, I don't know. I'm not a Yudei machshavos. The diburim, all the things that Bubba said in the course of her life, the hundreds of words, the thousands, the millions of words she used to bring goodness and good feeling to others. And the maisim, the goodness of all the actions that she did, together with my Shvez on the Zangizund. Over the course of so many decades, as has already been mentioned, the catering, just as the cheshbon of how many meals that she prepared together with my Shver for the others to be able to enjoy. As is known, that a person, if you take away the enjoyment of Olam Hazeh, of this world, from another person, you could run into a punishment from the Almighty. So she did the opposite. She made sure that people had good fortune and geschmack and enjoyed in a good way, in a way which is Makayim mitzvah. And we say all these actions go up. well, the food can't go up. It's, you know, it was well digested a long time ago. But the goodness that you put into it, that goes up, that accompanies the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of meals that are being prepared in the course of the wedding. Somebody mentioned that when they took on the Hakala weddings, it wasn't noticeable that this was supposed to be a subsidized wedding. It looked just as good as the ones that were paid for in full. The thousands of meals that were prepared for in the camps and the joy that surrounded them, it wasn't just the meals, it was the running of the whole camp. I have memories of trundling off here and there to do some schlepping in the weeks preparing for camp. So that the girls would have a good time and they would go on to grow up and become better the of whatever particular brand of Judaism they chose to follow. And that would be influenced, or be fed in a spiritual as well as a physical way by the things and the experiences which they had in the Bnos camp. And I'll tell you something else. In my younger years, I can remember going around with Bubba and Zeta, be it a Thursday or Friday, and dropping off kugels or chicken or chveisvas at mysterious addresses. And the question which said, do we charge? And there was like the wave of the hand. Forget it. How much does it cost? Forget it. Doesn't matter. Not important. That's the attitude. And a half a minute later, all that's forgotten. It wasn't what I only did. None of that. So there's a lot of good deeds and there's a lot of good things to be said. I'm conscious of the time. You'll ask me to round it off, or else I'll go on for too long. I will say one final point. I remember the day I got engaged to my wife. I'm talking about Yud Daled Sivan Tovshi Memhe, whatever that equates to in the English date in 1985. And we were, I'd given in a broch, I'd given my zettel to the Rebbe. I was in Crown Heights at 8 o'clock that evening. And I walked round to the family Turk home, the big, wonderful Turk home. They were on here earlier, with their cavernous rooms that used to house us for many, many tishris by the Rebbe. And my wife-to-be was waiting there as well. And at 10 to 9, the phone went. It was Binyamin Klein, Olam HaSholem, with the nusach of the brach of the Rebbe, Betach Echlita Liyasid Beisama Yeseder Tir Mitzvah Hebeshoter Mustachas Askeratzian. That's it. We were engaged. That's how it worked in those days. There were no fancy one bending on one knees with bunches of roses. All that, I think, that's not the way. That's not the Yiddish way. That's my personal opinion. I'm not criticizing anybody, but that's the way it went in those days. You got a bracha from the Rebbe. That was your engagement note. And there was a moment. I've got, that's the big moment. So we get on the phone to our parents. The Rebbe gave the bracha. And my wife is on the phone, and the Turks allowed us to use the phone. Those days, WhatsApp did not exist. And she passes the phone to me, and my mother-in-law gets on. Mazel tov, Yenison. I'm so happy, but the beam that comes down the phone, you can feel it through the receiver. I said, Mazel tov, Mrs. Simons. Thank you. She says, not Mrs. Simons, Mummy. And that's the way it's been ever since. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Uncle Yenison. Thank you, everyone, for sharing and for joining. And unless any of the available want to say something before we log off, we are going to end this meeting, and we should join together for happy occasions. And we'll thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for all your input. Much appreciated.
Oh, Tati, we wouldn't have known you were here. You've been so quiet.
Oh, I'm a quiet person. I'm not much of a talker.
Makim Menachem Eschem B'Seich Shah V'Eletien Yerushalayim. Going to end now. Good night, everyone.